And we're live. Welcome back for another stream, everyone. Hope everyone's had an excellent week and survived the international break. How are we all doing? Hope you're all well. Thank you for being here. Are we ready for Gameweek 12? Am I ready? I'm not sure if I'm even ready. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Currently second in the world, obviously. I don't know what the odds are of getting a green arrow with just the one manager in front of us. It's going to be a tough game week 12, I'll say that. So, yeah, I'm not too confident of a green arrow, but you never know. You never know. Hope you're all well. Thank you for being here. We have huge turn out already. We've got Alexander, Baha, Bales, Carl, Cheekster, Chris. Good question. Jamie Wallace, K Grieve, Crew Ploppy, Lan Lipovic, Mo Kanita, Please Work, Raj, Slaughter, Super, the Stefanable, Tony, Timothy. How you doing, Tim? Zachary. All here for the stream. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're all well. Who's everyone got the armband on for Game Week 12? I don't know if anyone saw, but I've had quite the week. The FPL show invited me on for an interview. So that was yesterday while I was working from home. And yeah, this is the team as per the interview. No changes. I rolled the transfer over the break. Salah gets the armband, I hate to say, because he is playing Arsenal, and of course I'm an Arsenal fan. And Livramento on the bench, who of course has Norwich. There's some news from today about Foden. I'm not sure whether he'll start or not. We'll see. Thank you all for being here. Narish says, hey mate, how you doing? Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Been a bit of a rush tonight. My family are up from Cornwall, so I just went round to see them and just got back. Just about had everything ready in time for the stream. Got loads prepared for this one, so thank you all for being here. Crew Ploppy says, Gallagher captain. Not sure about Gallagher. I think that's a bit of a bold one. Obviously, he's in very good form. He's the second scorer midfielder in the game, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'd stick the armband on Gallagher, honestly. I think there's better options. I think, in my opinion, feel free to disagree with this, but I think Salah's probably the best option, followed by Ronaldo. And then I think after that, it's difficult. You could argue Son, maybe Kane, maybe even Cancelo. And Carla says, hey Oscar, cheers for suggesting the bench boost last game. He got 98 points. No problem. Congratulations with the big bench boost score. Omar says, Bowen or Gallagher? I think at the moment I'd go Bowen. But it's tough to pick between them, to be honest. Gallagher's a very good pick as well. Daniel Dav says you should get Gallagher, Oscar. Yeah, I could do, but I'm not sure where I'd get the money from. I've got a few moves in mind for Game Week 13, but the plan for Game Week 12 is to roll the transfer. I think what I'll probably do in Game Week 13 is I'll downgrade Tony to a cheaper forward, and then I can either upgrade Armstrong, or I could upgrade one of the midfielders. You know, perhaps Smith Rowe could go up to Jota by downgrading one of the forwards to a cheap forward. The Stefanable says, what would you do with Ronaldo? If I had Ronaldo right now, I would still go Salah, honestly, but I'd be very tempted by Ronaldo captain because I think he's an equally good pick. Well, not equally, I think Salah just edges it, but I think Ronaldo's a very good pick. And, you know, ranked second, I'm a bit worried about the damage that Salah could do if I was to deviate from Salah right now, which I suppose isn't the right way to play, but, you know, either way, I do think Salah this game is the best pick. I almost didn't make it in time for the stream. This was literally 10 minutes before I went live. I still hadn't set the green screen up, and Teddy fell asleep on my shoulders. So I wasn't sure whether to cancel the stream or just hope that he wakes up, but luckily he did wake up in time, so we're okay. We'll do a very quick news roundup because there is some news from today. The most recent news, just from literally an hour ago, is Eddie Howe's going to be absent for the first game in charge of Newcastle because he's tested positive for COVID. So no Eddie Howe, which is a shame because they're playing at home as well. I'm sure it'll still be bouncing, but yeah, no Eddie Howe. He'll be on the radio or something, right? Some Chelsea news. Tuchel says that Kovacic and Lukaku are still out for the Leicester game. Romelu is very close to team training, so hopefully he will join the squad on Sunday. But yeah, no Lukaku just yet. There's been a few bits of news from Man City as well. Pep Guardiola has confirmed that Grealish is getting better, but he's not available for the City game versus Everton. I'm really surprised at Grealish. He's got a lot of minutes up until recently this season, but he's not really been a great pick so far. So Pep says, Phil Foden came back with a knock and a problem in his leg, but he is getting better. And that's why Foden's yellow flagged. And then he says, unfortunately, Kevin got a positive COVID test in Belgium and he needs 10 days, so no KDB. However, there was a video posted from Man City's training today as well, which did have Foden in it. So not sure. I think Pep might be being a bit coy there about whether Foden is available or not. Klopp says, Firmino, this is a bit of an interesting one actually. He says Firmino's getting closer, but not for the weekend. We'll see, but that'll take a bit longer still. And this kind of contradicts what he said in past press conferences. Maybe they misdiagnosed, or maybe Klopp's just, talking out his arse here. But Firmino was meant to be about 6 weeks away from being back from his injury. And it's been, 2 weeks? And this suggests that he's just around the corner from returning. I still think Jota's a very good pick, that said. And finally, it looks like we will have Tsimikas playing a left back. This is what he posted on Instagram earlier. He said, can't wait for the game tomorrow. So it looks like we're going to have the Greek Scouser playing a left back for Liverpool for the Arsenal game tomorrow at Anfield. Welcome to the chat, everyone. Welcome to the stream. If you're enjoying the stream, do hit like. Appreciate you all being here. Raj says, Teddy's adorable. He is. He's fallen asleep on my bed now. He's fast asleep. Hazabal says, Jota for a hit. No, I wouldn't take a hit for Jota, honestly. I probably would just wait a week. Krishna says, good news for Tony owners. Yeah, potentially. Good points. Obviously, Tony's got Newcastle. And like I said, they're not going to have Eddie Howe for that game. So I think it was going to be an open game anyway. But it could suit Tony even more. Just going to pour myself a glass of Pepsi Max. I'm not sponsored by Pepsi. Blizzwork says, Foden's doubtful, hope he plays. Yeah, I hope so too. I'm going to be gutted if he's on the bench and comes on as a sub, because I do have Livramento first on the bench. I think I saw a Fran in the chat. Yeah, Total Tax, it's FPL, says, as great a dog owner as you are, an FPL manager. I appreciate that very much, thank you. Paul Cook says, Newcastle win that. Do you reckon? Yeah, I actually think Newcastle win it as well, but I think it'll be an open game. Maybe like a 2-1 or something like that. Maybe a 2-2. I think it'll be a good game though. DS Azizor says, double Chelsea or Vardy. I would definitely start Vardy if you've got him. I think he's too expensive to be benching. Romain says, De Gea or Lloris. I would pick neither of those. If I was looking for a cheap keeper, or not even cheap, the best keeper, I think Guaita or Ramsdale is probably the best of the bunch at the moment. I don't think I'd go for De Gea or Lloris. Lloris could emerge as an option, obviously, because they've got Conte in now, who's a bit more defensively astute, but not sure about either of those, to be honest. I think there's better options. Adib says, Jesus or Antonio? That's a good one. That's a good question. So Antonio's top for expected goal involvement for the season, so I think I'd go Antonio. The data suggests he's still a good pick. I know his form has dropped off, and he's got, I think it's 1 goal in his last 5, but I'm hoping to hold on to Antonio for long enough to catch this run of games, because, you look at about Gameweek 16 onwards, he's got such a good run of fixtures that I think Antonio is going to remain a good option, even though he has dropped off a little bit. And I think he's the top scorer and forward in the game still, so yeah. A quick update on the Kings of the Game Week. So this is how it looks after Game Week 11. It was Cancelo who joined the Kings after Game Week 11 with his 14-pointer. Feels like a lifetime ago now. I think that was the Manchester derby, wasn't it? I think he got 2 assists and a clean sheet, was it? And we have already had a repeat. James has made the Kings twice already this season. Last season, I think it took about 30 game weeks before we had a repeat. Babel, how you doing, mate? This is the scout selection for Game Week 12. I'll just read it out in case we've got any audio listeners. So they've got Guaita in goal. In defence, it's Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo and James. Midfield, they've got Salah captain, Foden, Bowen, Gallagher. And then up top in the 3-4-3, it's Kane, Wilson and Armstrong. What do you guys think of the team? I think it's a pretty strong team this week. I think Wilson's going to become a good pick. He seems to be the latest bandwagon. I suppose Kane and Son are kind of bandwagons as well, but Yeah, Wilson's got, I think, 3 home games in his next 4, and they're all very good fixtures, so I like the look of Wilson. He's one I'm looking at for a potential Gameweek 13 transfer. Martin Keenan says, injury-prone players get more injured in colder months. Is that true? That is interesting. I didn't know that, if that's true. Mario Rodriguez says, Son is better than Kane. What do you guys in chat think between the Son and Kane debate? Which one's the better pick? So in my opinion, this season, Son's had the better underlying numbers. You know, he's had more shots. I think he's got higher expected goals, higher expected assists. More points, obviously, more goals. I think he's had more assists. And of course, he gets an extra point per goal. And he gets a point if Spurs keep a clean sheet. So that's why at the moment I'm leaning towards Son. But obviously Kane was in exceptional form over the break, albeit against San Marino and Albania. But I think he scored 7 goals in 2 games. So yeah, they're both very good options. And I think it's a bit of a coin toss, and honestly now. Eros reckons Son is the better. Arthur says Son over Kane. Umfon says Kane's better. Narish and Fastil Jen says Son. Raj says Kane. Quite divided in the chat. Yonan says, hey FPL, is Rafinha someone we should sell now? Maybe to someone like Jota. I don't hate the Rafinha to Jota move, but I'm not convinced by selling Rafinha either. I think Rafinha's still a reasonable option, in my opinion. Obviously, he's got Spurs this week, and I've got a bit of a benching dilemma. I'm going to have to bench him for the Spurs game, but the fixtures aren't bad. If you were going to sell him and you really were set on it, I would do it around Game Week 16. But I think Firmino will be back by then, so there could be another player who's better to own. But, you know, look at the next 4. Tottenham, yeah, it could be tough. Brighton might be. Palace at home. Brentford at home. And again, Rafinha's the type of player who gets you points against absolutely anyone. He's that good. He can create something out of nothing. So you always stand a chance of a return with Rafinha. Arthur says Son is better value. I've got a question for everyone in chat. How many of the most transferred in players can you name for Game Week 12? And can you name the most transferred in player heading into Game Week 12? Martin says Son is more tired than Kane. Is that true? I know that Conte intends to play Kane further forward and avoid him dropping as deep as he has done previously under previous managers. So I suppose that could be advantageous in the sense of, you know, less running for Kane. Thanks for the donation, Abhishek. He says, let me try and read this out. Liver Trent, Rudy Chilwell, Cancelo, Mbumo, Rafinha, Havertz, Gallagher, Salah, Antonio Jesus, Tony. Oh, is this the most transferred in, or is this your team? So you start Livra, Trent, Rudiger, and Chilwell. I think you have to bench Livramento, right? You start in Mbumo. I would probably do Havertz to Jota, Abhishek, if that was my team. I think it's time to move Havertz on, in my opinion. I think it's time for Havertz to go. And I think Jota's the standout. So the question was, who's the most transferred in? And it is Gallagher. Over 600,000 have picked up Gallagher heading into Game Week 12, followed by James, who's been picked up by almost 400,000. 320,000 have picked up Cancelo. 280,000 Smith Rowe. Kane's actually the most transferred in between him and Son, but Son trails him by not much. 170,000 have picked up Son. What about the most transferred out then? Can anyone guess the most transferred out player heading into Game Week 12? Lanjunga says thoughts on Benteke. No, I'm not sold on the idea of Benteke personally. Not really considering him at the moment. I don't know if he's been getting consistent minutes either. Has he been coming off early? Yeah, I'm not sure about the Palace strikers, to be honest with you. I know Benteke's been doing fairly well, but I think there's better options. Paula Rivers reckons Sanchez is the most sold. Sam Crispin also reckons the same. Kieran and Peter. A lot of guesses for Sanchez. You are absolutely bang on. It's Sanchez who's the most transferred out. Of course, he got the red card in Game Week 11, so he misses one game. Are there any Sanchez owners in the chat? Sanchez owners in the chat, what's your plan with him? Do you have a backup on your bench? Are you going to just ride out Gameweek 12 without a keeper at all? Or are you selling him? If so, who for? Vardy's the second most transferred. 250,000 managers have shifted Vardy on heading into Gameweek 12. Alonso continues to be mass sold. Obviously, he's not got a look in. He's not played a single minute since Chilwell came back into the Chelsea side. And Alonso is almost back to his starting price, 5.5. Azizos is picking up Guaita as a Sanchez replacement. Krishna says Ramsdale for the win. They're both very good picks, I'll be honest. Interestingly, I was looking at the data earlier, and Palace are second best of all teams for expected goals conceded this season. Which is incredible as well, especially considering they've had some tough games. So Vieira's come in and done an incredible job. Narish has got Foster playing as the backup. Oh, I forgot about Steele. Some people have got Steele as the backup. Fair enough. Just play Steele, right? Hope for the best. We'll have a quick look at the clean sheet odds next, which are as follows. Man City top, 58.5% chance of a clean sheet against Everton. Everton, of course, still without Calvert-Lewin. I think he's not back for a few weeks. Followed by Man United, who I think have only kept 2 all season. 42% chance of a clean sheet for Man United, playing away at Vicarage Road against Watford. Chelsea in third, 39.5% chance. They're also playing away. They've got Leicester. Liverpool, 37.5% chance against Arsenal. Looking forward to that game. I'm not sure Liverpool keep a clean sheet in my opinion. Tottenham, 36% chance against Leeds. Rock bottom is Everton, of course, playing away at the Etihad against Man City. 7% chance of a clean sheet for them. 10.5% chance for Arsenal away at Anfield, according to the bookies. Goalscorer odds. Salah is top, 48.5% chance of scoring. Followed by Ronaldo, 47% chance. I do like the Ronaldo pick as an alternative to Salah this game, I have to say. Kane's third, 44.5% chance of scoring anytime, according to the bookies. Foden makes the top 5. Any other notable names here? Antonio, 31% chance. I'm hoping Antonio can reward the patience for those of us that have kept hold of him. Because, yeah, he has dropped off massively compared to how he started the season. Krishna says, do you think Chelsea keep a clean sheet? Oh, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think they do, but it's not an easy yes, if you know what I mean. It's not like, yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a tough game. Leicester are a really good side, even though they've not been at their best this season. They're a good side, and Rodgers is a good manager. I wanted to take a moment to pay our respects to this manager, Omar Mahmoud. He is from Egypt, and in Game Week 10, he was ranked 7k in the world. And his transfer for Game Week 11 was he brought in Aubameyang and he captained him. And he finished Game Week 11 with 16 points. He also had Sanchez in goal, who obviously got -1 for him. In defence, he had Cresswell, Rudiger, Cody, no clean sheets. He had Bissouma, I think he came off the bench. He left Keane on his bench. So he got a red arrow from 7k to 106k. Absolutely brutal, that. This is the sort of stuff that keeps me up at night as second in the world, I tell you that. Penguin, how you doing, mate? Martin Keenan says, Ben Davies for value, maybe. How much is Ben Davies? I agree, he could become an interesting option. I think he'll probably be nailed in the left side of the back 3 for Spurs, but depending on his price difference between him and Reguilon, I think I'd probably go for Reguilon instead, unless it's a huge difference. Thomas, thanks for the donation. He says, congrats on second. I have a bit of a HDCH plan for Havertz to Jota, but now I'm not sure since Have will play. Have 2 free transfers. Thoughts? My teams are Ramsdale, Cancelo, James, Trent, Livra, Duffy, Salah, Foden, Havertz, and Mbumo. Is that Brownhill, Kane, Tony, and Antonio? That's a good team. That's a really strong team. So your defense picks itself really. Cancelo, James, Trent, you have to start. In midfield, Salah, Foden, Havertz, and Mbumo, you have to start. Up top, Kane, Tony, and Antonio, you have to start. That's tough, you know, because you've got 2 free transfers and your team's actually in good shape, in my opinion. I would still be very tempted to do the Havertz to Jota move if it was me. Especially because you've got the 2 free transfers. I assume you've got... Yeah, you've got Ramsdale in goal. I'd be very tempted by Havertz to Jota still, if I'm honest. It's difficult though, because Klopp was a bit coy today in his press conference. You know, the previous reports was that Firmino was out for 6 weeks, and then today Klopp says something that indicates return sooner. But you know, managers are like that. They say one thing, they mean another, and they tend not to give too much away because why would they? From the opponent's perspective, they don't want to give them any sort of advantage. That's a difficult one. I would probably do Havertz to Jota still if it was my team. Can't think of anyone else unless you've got a route to Son. I don't know how you'd get to Son though. You've got Kane already. I think it has to be Jota. Azizos says Smith Rowe or Rafinha. Probably Rafinha. Alright, let's play a little round of Who's That Player. Super easy game this, everyone. You're going to see the cutout of a player, and then I need your guesses in the chat of who is the player. We'll start with a nice easy one. So if you know who it is, guesses in the chat. Who's that player? And while we play this game, I'll attempt to read out some questions. Raj says, mate, what's your name? My name's Oscar. Nate says, I'd rather go Bernardo than Gundogan. Yeah, agreed. Although I'd probably pick Foden over those two, out of the 3 of them. Aziza says St. Maximan. Mosen says the same. Kira says it's Zaha. Yadil says it's St. Maximan. A lot of St. Maximan guesses in the chat. Penguin says, class team, man. Hope you hit big again this week. I hope so, mate. Hopefully a nice hat-trick from Armstrong. A nice hat-trick from Tony. Not too much to ask. Yeah, a lot of guesses for St. Maximan. And you're bang on. It was St. Maximan. Alright, next one. Guesses in the chat. Who's that player? Martin Keenan says, your FPL channel is the best on YouTube and your FPL team. Appreciate that a lot. Thank you, Martin. My team's technically second best. But we'll see after Gameweek 12. I don't suppose it will be after Gameweek 12. I can say that much. Oh, a few varied guesses in the chat. We've got Firmino, Aubameyang, Bobby, Robbie from... I think you meant Bobby, Robbie, Cancelo, St. Maximan, Jota. Potsy says Daddy. The answer was Aubameyang. Alright, next one. Guesses in the chat. Let's get a bit harder now. Who's that player? SR says Jesus is a good pick. Jesus is an interesting one. He's actually been getting lots of minutes this season. Albeit he's been playing down the right rather than through the middle. So he's classified as a forward but not actually playing as a striker. I think Foden's a better pick, but there's not much between the 2 of them. Foden's got slightly better minutes per expected goal involvement. So I think Foden's the better pick from City. But it also depends on your team shape. You know, if you go for Jesus, it gives you the flexibility for Son. And vice versa. Sup says Regulon. Eddie says Cancelo. Zinchenko. Oh, this one stumps you guys. It's not Cancelo. It's not Regulon. It's not Jota. Not Regulon. Ashley got it. Not Barnes. Not Michael Owen. It's not Royce. It does look like Royce. These are all FPL players, Premier League players. Tony says, I have no clue on this one. A few of you have got it. It's not Manquillo. The answer was Jimenez. Of course. Alright, got a couple more. Who's that player? Guesses in the chat. It's funny how the littlest things can give it away. Like it can be the posture, it can be the hair, it could be the head shape, it could be the ears. But yeah, guesses in the chat. Who's that player? Mayank says, will Foden start? We don't really know, that's the problem. Pep said that Foden has a problem with his leg, but he was also spotted in training today, Foden, so it's unclear. But what I will say is Grealish is out with an injury. KDB's out with COVID, so they're missing a couple of players. So if I was to guess, I would say Foden starts. Certainly if you've got him, you have to start him in your FPL team. Loads of guesses of Mane in the chat. Slouter got it, Tim, Peter, Cheekster, Milan, Lynn, Mohamed, Lan, CM Ben. It was indeed Sadio Mane. Okay, one more. Last one. Who's that player? Guesses in the chat. This one, the hair definitely gives it away. Or it's a big clue at least. Letharsan says, swap Foden for Jota. I don't think I'd swap Foden for Jota. I think you hold on to Foden. And City's fixtures are looking credible very soon. And he's the type of player that gets you something against any team. I think everyone's got this one. It was, of course, Andros Townsend. Well done if you got it. Alright, I'll put it back to my team. This is how I'm lining up for Gameweek 12. Keep the questions coming in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in so far, everyone. If you're enjoying the stream, do hit like. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It's good to have you all here. Appreciate you. I typically post 4 videos every game week. I've got a series that follows the top 100 managers, the top 100 all-time FPL managers. So things like the team selection, the transfers, the chip usage. That's out every Sunday typically. Every Tuesday I post a captains video, top 3 captains for each game week. Wednesday I post my team selection. And then Thursday I post a Roundup style video, which is like the clean sheet odds, the goal scorer odds, the top players for predicted points. And then wherever I can squeeze it in, I do live streams such as this. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on all of that. Nedja says, hey Focal, you're killing it, man. Keep it up. Myself contemplating going Havertz to Jota, since I can't get Son without a -4. Rudiger to James is also a move I thought about. What do you think? Yeah, I like the Havertz to Jota move. It's going to be sod's law that Havertz goes on and gets something against Leicester, but I do really like the Jota pick, especially while Firmino's out. Jota's numbers are actually incredible. In fact, Jota's numbers are even better than Son's. And he's about 2 mil cheaper, so I think Jota's a very, very good pick, and I'm considering him for Game Week 13. I'll just talk about the potential moves I'm considering. So this is my transfers here. So one move I could do is I could downgrade Armstrong to a very cheap forward like who's the one that plays for Villa? Davis. There you go. And that gives me 1.5 in the bank. So then I can upgrade Tony to a forward for 8 mil or less. So someone like Jimenez. I was hoping DCL would be back after the break, but he's not back. But that's one potential route I could go. That won't be until Game Week 13. The other option is I can downgrade Tony to Davis, and that gives me 2.1 in the bank. So that's why I'm considering the Jota move, because I could do Smith Rowe to Jota, but I'm not totally sold on that one either, because Smith Rowe's got Newcastle. So that's a couple of moves I'm considering there. Sam says start Foden or Livra. It's a tough one to answer, but I think you have to start Foden, because you're going to kick yourself, aren't you, if Foden does end up starting, imagine he hauls against Everton. We saw Everton at rock bottom on the clean sheet odds, and Foden was also up there on the goal scorer odds, so I think you have to start Foden. And he's the type of player that can do damage off the bench too. Kodak says, is Jota a priority? He's not a priority, but he looks like a very feasible route in Game Week 13. But I'm going to have a think about it. I'm in a lucky position where none of my players got injured over the break, and I've got a strong bench, so I can afford to wait a week and then reassess. And I can also afford to downgrade a player to, a non-starter or a base value player, and then upgrade elsewhere. Eagle says, please help. Keep Mount or get Son. Get Son. Absolutely, get Son. Yeah, move Mount on. Tony says Foden or Mbumo. Is this who to start, Tony? I think you have to go Foden again because he's got such a high ceiling. What reassured me a little bit is that we saw Foden in Man City's training video today. The training footage from the Man City camp. And Foden was there, so I don't know if I can find the video while I'm live, but maybe I can. There we go. Actually, I was actually watching Man City's training footage earlier. How sad is that? What a way to spend your Friday. Where was it? He's here somewhere. There he is. There's Phil. He's in training. I don't know what Pep's on about saying he's come back with a problem. He was in training, unless this is very old footage, but that was posted yesterday, so looks like it's okay for Foden owners. Rahel says Smith Rowe or Mount. Is that who to start or who to bring in? I'd probably start Mount, but I think Smith Rowe if I had to pick between the two. Tom Gilkison says Benrahma to Jota. Yeah, I like that move. I like that. Skank says Rafinha to Jota. Should I do it? I'm not totally convinced by selling Rafinha. Like I was saying earlier, the fixtures aren't bad for the next 4. If you're going to sell Rafinha, you'd want to do it here, right? They play Chelsea, City, Arsenal, Liverpool. 4 very tough games in succession. And that makes the next 4 all the more important. They have to get wins and they need to score because Leeds are struggling this season. Obviously, they've been missing some players like Ayling and Bamford, etc. But they have to get some points over this next 4 or they're going to be in a real relegation battle. So I'm not sure about selling Rafinha. I'm planning to keep hold of him for now anyway. If anyone's not in our Discord, a link to that's in the description. It's a genuinely good FPL resource. We've got things like the price changes. We've got the lineups. We've got the live scores. We've got live points. We've got bonus points. We've got the Gameweek stats. Injury updates. Top 10k stats. Insider trading. News. Disaster classes is a good one. And this is where I found that manager that we talked about earlier. Who got a red arrow from 7k to 106k overall. And of course we've got the captain poll. This week it is Salah who completely dominates the captain poll. 308 votes for Salah. 34 votes for Kane. I think Kane comes in second. Followed by Son with 30 votes. 21 votes for Ronaldo. 10 votes for Cancelo. 6 votes for KDB. If anyone's voted for KDB, hopefully you saw the news that he's got COVID and will miss this weekend. And I think he'll miss Gameweek 13 as well because of the 10-day quarantine rule. Anyway, if you are interested in joining the Discord, I'll put a link in chat, but it's also in the description. There we go. Kieran Bean says, are you planning on getting Ronaldo in for Gameweek 15 or 16? Not sure yet. It depends on how Son does, and if I think Ronaldo will outscore Son over the Gameweeks that follow then. But yeah, potentially. I think Son would have to be the player that makes way if I was going to get Ronaldo in. I don't see how I could afford him otherwise. Obviously, as a consequence of using the bench boost in Gameweek 11, I've got my funds very spread around at the moment, which is something I want to reel in a little bit because I don't want to have such a massive benching headache every game week. But I can't complain really, you know. Got the points off the bench boost. Admittedly, very fortunate with Foster, but yeah, at the moment I've got a bit of a benching headache, so I'd like to downgrade maybe Armstrong to a 4.5 forward just to free up some funds and then reinvest that in another player to upgrade them. You know, Tony could go up to a more expensive forward. Or I could upgrade Smith Rowe to someone like Jota. Baha says, is that your team? Yeah, this is my team. This is me for Gameweek 12. No transfers made. I've rolled the transfer. Amr Galal says, thoughts on Lucas Moura? No, I'm not convinced by Lucas Moura, to be honest. he's never really been a good FPL asset. You know, he hit random patches of form. You know, he might get like 2 goals and assist, and then the game after that he scores, and people say, oh, what about Lucas Moura? But he's never been a good consistent points returner, so I'm not convinced by Lucas Moura. Joe MD says Broja or Armstrong. Armstrong. At the moment, I think it's Armstrong's spot to lose. You know, the last 2 games, Armstrong started up top with Adams, and they've won both games 1-0. And they've linked up well. Armstrong's played well. Scored last week. I think he got an assist the game week before. So, you know, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. Boba Sahil says, Reece or Chilwell? Can only get one in. No idea which to choose. Really tough one on the Reece or Chilwell debate. I think Reece just about edges it, but they're both very, very good picks in my opinion. Joshua says, start Azpilicueta or Hwang? I think I'd go Hwang. Lewis Hewley says, wildcard team. Honestly, if I was on a wildcard, I think my team would look almost exactly like this, except I probably would have... Maybe Tony would be like a 4.5 forward and Smith Rowe would be Jota, something like that. Other than that, I think my wildcard team would honestly be this team, which is quite a lucky position to be in. Krishna says, start Jimenez or Rudiger. I think I would start Jimenez. When it's between a centre-back and a striker, I think you have to favour the attacker, right? Karthik says, Captain Ronaldo. Yeah, I think Ronaldo's an excellent captain option for Gameweek 12. I'm just realising now that I didn't get the predicted points table up in preparation for this stream, so bear with me and I'll get that. Courtesy of FPL Review. They've got a really good algorithm that predicts the points that players get in each game week, and it's even slightly more reliable than the bookies odds, so really good tool to use. Let me get that ready. There we go. Get that. Put that there. Alright, so this is the predicted points for Game Week 12, and it's Salah who's top with 7.83 predicted points. Ronaldo is second, which goes back to what we were just saying just now. I think Salah's a very good captain alternative. Mahrez, 5.79 predicted points for Mahrez. The algorithm updates itself every day based on the expected minutes that the player will get. So I guess the algorithm fancies Mahrez to get some minutes for that game. We'll have to see. Mane, 5.73 predicted points. Kane's up there. Son's up there. Trent's up there. Cancelo and Gundo. Jota's up there. Tony, 4.59 predicted points. This is Tony's last chance, I'll tell you what. I'm fed up with Tony. Let's take a quick look at the attacking stats over the last 4 or so game weeks, which is as follows. So top for goals scored, expected goals scored and big chances is Liverpool. Shots on target, City and Leicester. So perhaps a hint that Leicester are going to come good soon. I know Vardy's been a disappointing pick and he's not done much in recent game weeks after hitting a purple patch of form before that. But in terms of actual goals scored, Everton, Norwich, Brentford and Spurs all rock bottom with 3 goals over the last 4. Newcastle rock bottom for expected goals, 1.8 over the last 4. They're also bottom for shots on target and big chances. Just 2 big chances in the last 4 games. So Eddie Howe's got a real job on his hands to turn them around. Now if we look at the actual defensive stats, that is as follows. For goals conceded, Villa and Man United are top. 11 goals conceded over the last 4. And Man United worst for expected goals conceded. What do you guys think about Solskjaer? Are you Ollie in or Ollie out? Shots conceded on target, Norwich. Again, Dean Smith's got a big job on his hand. 28 shots on target they've conceded over the last 4. Everton have conceded the most big chances, which is good news for those of us with Man City assets if they're conceding the most big chances recently. If they give up big chances to City, I'm sure City will take those big chances. Chelsea have conceded the fewest goals, just 1 goal over the last 4. 2 goals for Southampton. Hasenhüttl's doing incredible this season. as is Livramento. But yeah, Chelsea continue to put up good defensive numbers, so the double up in defence certainly looks viable. Those that have got Rudiger and Chilwell, James and Chilwell. A lot of Ollie out in the chat. Ramanathan is Ollie in. Paul doesn't care. Andy says Ollie out. Nikolai says all day long Ollie out. Kodak says, do you think Jesus is a good option? I don't think it's an awful option, but I think Foden's the better pick right now. Jesus certainly not the worst option. Bernardo Silva an option as well, but I think Foden's the one you have to go to. But it is a good point. You know, the fixtures that City have coming up, I think we want to triple up if we can, but who do we triple up with? You know, do we double up in defence, Cancelo and Diaz? Or do we spread it out? You know, Cancelo in defence, Foden midfield, Jesus up top. I think there's a lot of ways you can go. But this fixture run here, absolutely incredible. If we can get on the right side of Pep Roulette, of course. Suzanne says, what do you think, Focal? Ollie out? Yeah, if I was a Man United fan, I would be really discouraged by the job he's doing. Especially the signings they made last window. You know, they brought Sancho in, who was incredible. You know, he was world class in Bundesliga in terms of the numbers he was putting up there. I know it's a different league, but he was phenomenal for Dortmund. You know, you bring in Cristiano Ronaldo. It's Ronaldo. You bring in Varane. They made such good signings. But, you know, they're not challenging for the title. Not even close. And I really thought they would with the signings they made. At the moment, they're 6th. They're 3 points off Arsenal, who are 5th. But they're already 9 points off 1st. So, you know, they're not challenging for the title by any means. And I don't think he's the man for the job if those are United's ambitions. But the question is, who do you replace him with, right? There was rumours of Zidane, but I think I read Zidane's wife didn't want him to come to England or something. Thank you so much, everyone who has tuned in so far. We've got 381 here, which is absolutely mind-blowing. If you have enjoyed the stream so far, don't forget to hit like on the stream and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Nedja says, best captain this week, Cancelo or Foden? If I had to pick between the two, probably Cancelo. Yeah, I just got slight doubts after the Foden news today and being yellow flagged. He was spotted in training, so I'm sure he's fine, but you know, it's the last thing you want for Foden to come off the bench and get your 1 pointer as your captain. But I'm not sure if I'd captain either of them. I think Salah, Ronaldo, Son, probably all better options. Paul Cook says Coman maybe. Surely not. Would Man United fans stand for that? There'd be protests outside Old Trafford again if Coman was the man that replaced Solskjaer. I'm not even sure if it would be an improvement. Tengu says, hi Oscar, who would you choose first between Jota, Bernardo Silva or Gallagher? Is that who to start or who to transfer in? I'd probably go Jota and then Gallagher and then Bernardo Silva. Psycat says, is that your final team? Yeah, this is my final team. Unless we get any late news between now and the deadline. Obviously, I ran a poll on my YouTube channel earlier, and I left it up to you guys whether I did a Friday night stream or a deadline stream. And the Friday night stream won, so here we are. So there won't be another stream tomorrow morning, but this is how I plan to line up, assuming no late news. But as always, I'll post my team about an hour before the deadline on Twitter and on the channel, so if there are any changes, you'll always find out anyway. JRX says, Oscar, play Livramento or Chilwell? Chilwell. Master of Destruction says, bench or start Mount? It depends who for. Totally depends who you're going to bench him for, right? You know, it's not the worst idea to start Mount, but it depends who you're going to bench him for. Joe Waters says, Grealish out for Jota or Vardy to Kane and bench Grealish. It depends who you can start in Grealish's place, but I would be very tempted to do the Kane move. I think it's a higher upside move for Gameweek 12, and you always want to chase the upside. And then, of course, you've got Jota as an option for Gameweek 13 when Liverpool play Southampton at Anfield, where Jota is a very good option there too. John, thanks for the donation. He says, hi Oscar, I think you're awesome, well done. Thank you, John, appreciate that. Not even a question, just a compliment. Thank you, mate. Pampas says Origi or Jota. Jota. Mio says bench 1, Vardy, Gallagher, Rudiger, Livramento. I would bench Livramento. I think Chelsea were higher on the clean sheet odds, weren't they? Yeah, Chelsea had a 39.5% chance of a clean sheet. Southampton, to be fair, not far behind, 34%. It's very difficult to predict what we see in terms of a new manager joining a team. You know, we always talk about new manager bounce. Is that always a thing? Is it actually a thing at all? And of course, we come back from this international break with Dean Smith now in charge at Norwich and Eddie Howe in charge at Newcastle. So it's been a bit of a shake-up over the break. They've both got a big job in their hands, that's for sure. Simo says, sell Vardy, if so for who? Grats on second. Thank you. I'll probably sell Vardy for Kane if I was going to sell him. The cheap forwards haven't really done much for us recently, I have to say. There's not an obvious striker in the mid-price range at the moment. And Antonio's been great over the course of the season, but most of his points came at the very beginning. You know, the opening 3 game weeks when he got, was it 4 goals and 4 assists in 3 games? Incredible start to the season, but he's dropped off a bit since then. Still a good option in my opinion, especially if you can keep hold of him for this run of games, starting from Gameweek 18, but arguably from 16 as well. Was there a donation I missed there? Callum, thank you. He says, I'm outside the top 100k. Salah or Kane, captain? I think Salah's the best option, honestly. But Kane's the kind of punt where, if it came in, you'd fly up the ranks. So it depends on your risk tolerance. I think Salah's the better pick still, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a tough game against Arsenal. Could be an upset there, but I think Salah's the best option. If Arsenal can hold on until late in the game, you know, maybe, because Liverpool are lacking that depth, they might struggle. You know, they've got Firmino out, they've got Hendo out, they've got Robertson out. So you've probably got Origi coming off the bench. Although I say that, Origi obviously scored last game week, so maybe he's turned a corner. But, you know, it's not the same as having Firmino off the bench, who's a hell of an impact sub. Or, you know, in some games, Firmino starts and you've got Jota off the bench, which is a hell of an impact sub as well. Keep the questions coming. Thank you so much. We've got 411 tuned into the stream. Thank you all. Did anyone see the interview on the FPL show? What did you guys think? I was working from home, so I just told my boss I was on my lunch break. But I really enjoyed it. It was bizarre, actually, to get to talk to Jules Breach and James Richardson, because I've watched the FPL show so many times. So it was very odd to actually chat to them. It was quite nerve-wracking as well, because you're on Zoom, and the way it works is you're on Zoom watching the show, and the guy's like talking to you, the producer's saying, all right, Oscar, here's what's going to happen. We're going to do this segment and this segment, and then we're going to cut to a break, and then we're going to get you on. So you're just watching the show, just waiting there in anticipation for you to come onto the show. You know, they go to the break, and you get to talk to them behind the scenes for like a minute, and it was, you know, the quickest minute of my life. It was just a very quick hello, and then that was it. I was on. You're live. By the way, I didn't even know it was live. I didn't know it was live. Maybe they told me it was live and I didn't hear them, but I didn't realise it was live. Someone messaged me straight after, like, I've just seen you on TV. So that was crazy, and it was lucky I didn't swear. Arafat says, great interview. Thank you, Arafat, appreciate that. SR says, Rudiger for a Spurs defender. No, I'd keep hold of Rudiger. Master of Destruction says, don't worry, your dog carried the show. He properly did. He's such an attention seeker. He always steals the show. I don't know if you guys know this, but I've got a banner or a logo which has got a dog face, and it's actually based on a photo of Teddy. So if I just bring up, I should do it, my Twitter. If anyone's not following me on Twitter, by the way, there's a link to my Twitter in the description. But you might have seen I've got the dog face. This is, I made this in Photoshop based on a photo of Teddy. So yeah, he really does steal the show. He always finds a way. So yeah, if you're not following me, fplfocal on Twitter. Link in the description if you are feeling too lazy to type it out. I've lost the stream now. Where did it go? There it is. JRX says, Oscar, is Lamptey a good option? Not at the moment. He could become a good option, but personally, not sold on Lamptey at the moment. I think he's started like one game all season, and I expect Potter will probably rotate. He's got Veltman who can play in right wing back. So I don't think he's nailed either, and he's quite injury prone. Ramanathan says, big up Teddy. Are you telling me? Big up Teddy, the little dog. He's so deep in a sleep right now. He's twitching. I think he's in a deep sleep because he's like trying to run while he's lying. Saib says, play Tony or Mbumo. Tony. Gabby says, Aspilicueta or Rudiger. Rudiger. Goldman says, Ronaldo or Salah captain. This is a really tough one. I think Ronaldo's going to get something against Watford. I really do. But I think it's difficult to look beyond Salah, the form he's shown this season, right? 10 goals, 8 assists in 11 matches. Absolutely incredible numbers. He's just world class. Arguably the best in the world at the moment with the form he's been in this season. You know, 1 blank in 11 games, and that was back in Gameweek 2. So it's difficult to look beyond Salah. And I know not everyone plays with ownership in mind, but you have to remember he's the most owned player in FPL history, 71.7% ownership. So depending on whether that's something you factor into your thinking or not, if you go against Salah and Salah hauls and the player you go for blanks, it's going to absolutely obliterate your rank. So that's something to consider as well, I think. But those sorts of questions, I would hate to say one's better than the other because, you know, unfortunately I can't see the future and I'm only human, so if I get any of these calls wrong, I only apologise. Jayden says, should I start Smith Rowe? It depends who you're going to bench him for. It depends who you bench him for, to be honest with you, and whether you think they're going to get more points, obviously. Scared Cow says, good morning, Oscar. Good morning, Scared Cow. Samuel says, is it worth taking a hit to bring Gallagher in for Jimenez? Sorry, I got a notification there. Did that come through on the stream? What was the question? Lost it. Is Jimenez going to play? Not sure on Jimenez. So he came back from international break yesterday afternoon, and Lage said that he did train, so they're going to make a decision. I imagine Jimenez plays. You know, so yesterday was Thursday. When did they play? Do they play tomorrow or is it Sunday? They play tomorrow afternoon. So if I was to guess, I would say Jimenez plays. Apologies if I missed any questions. James says, bench Livra or Gallagher? Livra. When it's a 50-50 like that, I tend to favour the attacker because they tend to have a higher ceiling. You know, Gallagher could get you a goal, could get you an assist, could get you both. Livramento, I think, although he does have the potential for an attack and return, really his ceiling is about 6 or so points. Sheriff says, Captain Wilson. Not sure about Captain Wilson. That's a very, very bold captaincy, I have to say. Keith says, any plans to bring a Gallagher in, Oscar? Yeah, potentially he could come in for Smith Rowe. So I've got 2 transfers going into Game Week 13 because the plan is to roll it for this Game Week. So I could do Davis down to a cheaper forward. Sorry, Tony down to a cheaper forward like Davis. And that would give me the money to do Smith Rowe to Gallagher or even Jota. So there's a couple of routes I could go there. Or the other option is Armstrong down to Davies, and then I could go Armstrong up to a striker who's 8 mil or less. So maybe like a Jimenez or... I just wish Calvert-Lewin was back. It's so weird that he's been out for so long because he was such a good pick earlier in the season. But there's not many good striker options in that price range. Maybe St. Maximan or Wilson. Not sure. Got some thinking to do though over the next week, I'll tell you that. If anyone's not subscribed, of course hit subscribe so you can follow my team throughout the season. Whatever happens, whatever transpires. Obviously second at the moment going into Game Week 11, but what do you guys think? What's the odds of going first after this Game Week? I have to say, I can't imagine they're that high. You know, I've got one manager in front of me. I've got 8.6 million managers behind me. It's going to be a tough ask to get a green arrow, considering it'll be a one-place green arrow. But you never know. In fact, I haven't looked at first place's team. Should we do that? Should we have a look at what... I try not to look at the other managers' teams too much, but let's have a look at first place. So that's his team. So he's got... Let's have a look at who I've got that he hasn't. So he's got Jimenez and Vardy. I've got Antonio and Armstrong. Big difference there. But he's got 2.1 in the bank. What do you guys think? Do you reckon first place is going Vardy to Kane? Probably with 2.1 in the bank, he's going to go Vardy to Kane. He took a -4 last game week, so he's only got one transfer. So in defence, Ramsdale, Cancelo, Trent and Chilwell's all exactly the same. Rafinha and Salah, exactly the same. Tony's the same. So I think, if I was to guess, I think Game Week 11 is going to be Mbumo, Jota, Kane and Jimenez versus Reece James, Foden, Armstrong, and who's the other one I'm forgetting? Who's my other player? And Antonio. That's tough. It could become, if that's for me versus first place, of course there's loads of other people in the top ranks as well, but if it was just me versus first place, then that would be it would be those four players, I think. I imagine he's going to go for Kane. It could come down to whether Foden plays or not. That could be what it comes down to. You know, he's yellow flagged. Apparently he's got some kind of minor problem with his leg. I think the word that Pep used was he's got a disturbance in his leg. Like Foden's using the Force or something, you know, like he's a Jedi. He's got a disturbance. I don't know. You never know with Pep, do you? Mio says, what's on the Discord? I'm just below 17, wondering if I should join. Yeah, definitely join. The link to the Discord's in the description. We talked about it very briefly earlier, but it's got things like the price changes. All of this is automated by a bot. You've got the price changes, you've got the lineups, live scores, bonus points, the gaming stats, injury updates, top 10k stats, insider trading. Insider trading is really cool. So this is basically transfers that staff or players have made that concern the club they're from. So for example, last game week, Shane Duffy on FPL, he transferred in his teammate Dunk. Lee Grant, I think he's like third choice keeper, isn't he? He transferred out Luke Shaw. So that's always quite interesting to see some of those. And sometimes you get an accidental injury leak if a lot of players at a team transfer out one of their teammates. But yeah, there's a link to the Discord in the description. It is a good FPL resource, and we've got channels for like FPL chat, for rating your team, for live match chat. I'm going to be on there all this weekend. I'm planning to have a weekend in because I've been out for about the last 5 weeks in a row, and I feel like a weekend in. I'm feeling it. So I'm going to be on the Discord all weekend. So do join. ER Bro says the creator of Fantasy PL. Oh, I missed your question before. He says, hey Oscar, how you doing? Have you managed to meet up with the creator of Fantasy PL? So he's I sent him a bunch of questions for a video. If anyone doesn't know, I'm working on a video which talks about the entire history of FPL, starting from when fantasy football was first created. And I managed to get hold of the guy who literally created fantasy football. But he's a bit old school. He created fantasy football in 1971, and he didn't want to do questions by email, which is how I typically do them because I get them all written down. He wants to do it by phone, so I've not had an opportunity to arrange a phone interview, so that's why that one hasn't happened. Instead, I worked on some other videos over the international break. But I do plan to hopefully get it out before the new year. It's just finding the right time. And that one's going to probably be my longest video yet. Alpha says, I feel honoured being in this live. I'm honoured to have you here, mate. Thank you for tuning in. Matthew says, start Livramento or Jimenez. Jimenez. Chibuki says, what special FPL website do you use? This is just the FPL website. So there's a browser add-on called Stylish, and that lets you modify the appearance of web pages. If anyone's into web design or IT, there's something called CSS, which is like the layout of the FPL website. in layman's terms. And I've basically just rewrote the layout of the website and changed the background and stuff like that. But the fixtures below the players, that's a browser add-on called FPL Tools. But yeah, this is something I just worked on to make it look a bit cleaner for the streams, because if it's not enabled, it looks like this, which just looks a bit messier, right? Doesn't look as good for you guys. So yeah, that was something that I wrote myself. I don't know if I can show you live. There we go, that's what it looks like. I wrote all of this. And it's just like minor tweaks, most of it. It's just like moving elements around. And that lets you change the appearance of the FPL website. Maybe I should publicly share it. But it's quite cool. You know, you can change how the website looks. And it looks a lot cleaner like that, right? Frederick says, mount to Jota from -4. I'm not sure I'd do it from -4. I'd probably just get Jota in Gameweek 13 instead. Harry says, even all, fplfocal, what cheat codes are you using? No cheat codes, just luck. Let's be honest. Foster was very lucky on the bench boost last game week. This was game week 11. Activate the bench boost. I talked about it last game week, why I wanted to do that. And I briefly talked about it on the FPL show interview as well. But I'd always wanted to experiment it with in a single game week. And yeah, like I said, got very lucky because Foster saved the penalty. Livramento kept the clean sheet. Smith Rowe scored. So that definitely sent me up the ranks somewhat. My game week rank was 72 for game week 11, so it was a huge game week rank and a huge green arrow. I was about 300th going into the game week, and it was a green arrow to second, of course. AT says, what chips have you used? Just the wildcard and the bench boost. I've still got the free hit and the triple captain. Matthew says, where are you from? I'm from, I live really near to Watford. Alright, Teddy did make an appearance after all. I knew he'd make an appearance at some point, right? Glenn Kitely says, legend. I assume you're talking about Teddy, not me. Adrian says, hi Oscar, there is little value in attack. Why 3 attackers? It's for that reason. I don't think there's much value in the attackers right now. The only one I'd be tempted by is Kane. Maybe Ronaldo from Game Week 15, but I think defence and midfield is where the value is. You know, Salah, obviously. Foden, yeah, he's been great. Son, potentially, over the next 4. Other players like Rafinha, Smith Rowe, Gallagher. And then, of course, the defenders. Trent, James, Cancelo, Chilwell. They've all been great value, so for that reason, I think those are the areas to spend your money right now. The attackers just haven't been doing it. Alright, sorry Teddy. Sorry, mate. Matthew says, who do you support? I'm an Arsenal fan. Alex Hall says, play Reguilon or Mbumo. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I think I'd probably play Reguilon. Harry says, you sound like St Albans maybe. That's where I live. You're just round the corner, Harry. I'm about 10 minutes away from you. My brother's just bought an apartment in St Albans. He's moving out in the new year. Skank says, should I bring in Jota or Arnold? I think Trent's the one you want to look towards first, but Jota's a very good option as well. But I think you definitely want to have Alexander-Arnold. You know, he's the top defender for expected goal involvement. He's top for chances created, you know, crosses, expected assists. You have to have Trent. He's going to punish you. You know, we talked about it a few weeks back that you don't want to miss out on the points that he puts up. And then he got the 10-pointer against Man United, 12-pointer last game week. And this is what's so good about him. He can put up points even when he concedes. You know, he concedes 3 against West Ham and he still gets 12 points. You know, he's got 4 double-digit points for the season. 4. You know, look at Son. He's got 3, I believe. 10, 10, 10. You look at Antonio. He's got 3. So Trent, you can consider him like a midfielder for 7.5 that gets you clean sheet points. Mohammed says, where's the Pepsi Max? There's the Pepsi Max. I've had a nightmare. I accidentally bought the raspberry flavour. I thought it was cherry. It's not too bad though. Can't complain. Matthew says, do you reply on tweets? Yeah, I try my best to reply on tweets. I don't always reply to rate my team questions on Twitter. But I'll do my best to reply to all the rate my teams on YouTube. Cesaro says, Antonio or Jimenez? Long term, probably Antonio. The Zone says, bench Gallagher or Rafinha? Probably Rafinha. Harry says, do you need a mod? Yeah, probably. DM me on Discord, Harry. Christian says, Vardy to Kane, a good move. Yeah, great move. Joseph says, should I get Kane and Gallagher? Yeah, definitely. Good moves. Nashland says, Kane or Son? Oh, I shouldn't have read that one out. That's the question right there. That is the question of the game week. The question of the next 4 or 5 game weeks. Kane or Son? What do you guys think, Kane or Son? I think Son, based on his form this season. He's got more XG, more expected assists for the season. Gets an extra point per goal. Gets the clean sheet point. So I think Son's just about edges it, but it's hard to say. It's very unpredictable right now. Spurs could be turning a corner. They've obviously got a world-class manager in Conte and very good fixtures coming up. You know, Kane might look at Conte as the sort of hire that could win them a trophy if he's at his best. So we'll see. We know what Kane's capable when he's at his best. And of course, he got 7 goals over the international break, albeit against Albania and San Marino. Anyway, we've been live for well over an hour, so I think that's me about done. But I'm going to be on the Discord for the rest of the night, so if anyone's not on the Discord, link to that's in the description. Make sure you join that. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Before you go, don't forget to like this stream and subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. The next video will probably be out on Sunday. I'll do an interview with one of the top 100 all-time managers and perhaps a post-game week 12 stream if it's a good game week. If it's not a good game week, perhaps I won't. We'll see. But like I say, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all around on the Discord, no doubt. But for now, it's a goodbye from me.